on this edition of On Duty. We'll join Crime Prevention Officer Ed Thomas as he speaks about back-to-school safety. We'll also join the Elk Grove Fire Department and other departments as they participate in hazardous material training. All that and more next on Duty.
Hello, I'm Officer Ed Thomas of the Elk Grove Village Police Department. I'd like to welcome you to this edition of On Duty. Hopefully I'm not scaring anybody in the audience today. I understand from our producer, director, Mr. Ross Rowe, that we are in HD for the first time ever with Channel 6, so kudos to them. Today we're at Grove Junior High School in the Resource Center, what was probably called back when I went to school, and many of you in the audience, a library. I actually went to Grove Junior High School here, and it looks quite a bit different. Ends up Papik, the principal here, brought us and showed us the new furniture that they have, and was referring to this as the Starbucks area. So I'd like to talk today about back to school safety. I know we've talked about this topic before. It's an important topic. You've had your children, your boys, your girls, probably sleeping until 9, 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. Time to get them weaned back to the early getting up in the morning, less TV and that type of thing. There's going to be hundreds, if not thousands, of kids going back to school, not only in Elk Grove, but in the surrounding district, the area, and the other communities. So we just want to touch back on some of those common sense things that we all know that we might want to be reminded about. Let's talk about some things we need to remember about walking to school as children or riding bikes, and what things parents need to consider when they have their children leave the house. You want to make sure that your boys and girls have a direct route to and from the school. And what I would suggest you do, and you know what, again, I said this is common sense stuff, you've probably already done it, you probably already brought your children, but show them a route that they're going to be walking, especially if they're younger. What you want to do also is make sure that they're walking this to and from school with a friend or maybe another parent. I had mentioned in the past that we sort of refer to it as a walking school bus type of thing. They're all together. If they have an adult as an escort, great. Don't talk to strangers while you're walking to and from school. That should be a no-brainer. That should be a given. Children, if you're going to and from school and you happen to get turned around or lost, I know I've spoken to probably every one of you in the district, every single school we talk with the kids, the children. Look for somebody of authority that you can go to for help. If there's a police officer driving by, wave to them, get their attention. We're there to help you out. Firefighter, public works vehicle from the village, postal carriers. If you're near the school, you lost your route back home, just go back to the school and tell them what's going on, and we're all here to help you out. There's no reason that you have to be frightened if you get turned around. Walk directly to and from school, boys and girls, no stopping along the way. If you do decide to stop, or if you decide to go to a friend's house, what do you need to do? We need to call our parents and let them know. Depending on your age, as you get older, you'll probably be trusted with, if not your own cell phone, maybe a family cell phone. Fire a call into your mom or dad, or your parent, or your guardian, or your babysitter, whoever it is that's at the end there, so that they're not going to be calling the police at 911 because you didn't show up at home all worried about you. It's a common sense thing, and it's a courtesy thing for your parents or whoever it is that's watching you. When going to and from school, cross the streets at corners. Many of the schools in Elk Grove, if not all of them, as you get closer to the school, closer to that perimeter, they're going to have crossing guards available to help you cross the street and get to school. Make sure you use those corners. When you're walking in the area of cars, don't be darting in and out of traffic from between cars. Make sure that the people who are driving can see you. Make sure that you're visible, okay? There's a lot of distractions right now that, though there's laws to prevent drivers from being distracted, you still see it every single day. How many times have you seen people texting? How many times on the phone? Those are things that parents should not be doing around schools, but we know that they do. So kids, be careful. Make sure that those cars see you. If you're riding a bike, you know, all the rules of the road, stop signs, lights, and that type of thing apply to you, okay? So you have to make sure that you follow the rules of the road. And we'd like to see people that are on bikes wearing helmets. I know we've talked in the past about bike safety and helmets are a huge factor in preventing serious injury if you were to fall, if you were to hit a curb and fall down and that type of thing. Though we don't have a real big issue with this in Elk Grove, I know that some other people probably might be seeing this from surrounding communities and that type of thing. Stay away from vacant buildings and that. They're just a place where maybe you can find yourself getting in some trouble, you know, maybe getting cut on debris around the building and that type of thing. Stay away from vacant buildings in areas that you know are possibly unsafe. Okay, we covered some of the common sense type of things to consider when walking or riding a bike to school. Let's talk a little bit about bike safety now. I know many boys and girls in Elk Grove ride on a bus. This is probably something that's already covered with you with the school and the bus driver and the district and that type of thing. We've all been on the bus and we've seen no standing while the bus is in motion, that type of thing. When you're loading or unloading from the bus, what you need to do is make sure the bus is stopped, right? Wait for the driver to direct you that it's safe to exit the bus. And if they don't actually direct you and say, okay, get on, get off, I would guess that if they open the door for you and the stop arm goes out, that should be your assumption that it's a safe time to get on or off of the bus. While the bus is in motion, you shouldn't be moving around, you shouldn't be walking around the aisles, you shouldn't be hanging over the seats. Some buses have seat belts installed, some buses don't. It's a whole design type of thing with the way the bus is built with the high seats and the padding and that type of thing to sort of encapsulate you as a rider if there was a collision or a sudden braking maneuver type of thing that could cause somebody to move around. So the fact that you're not walking around on the bus or hanging over the bus or the bus seat is going to add to the effectiveness of those safety devices built into the bus. There's a cross arm with the bus for a reason. When I went to school, there wasn't cross arms and that type of thing. They have that now so that the driver can see you, so that you're visible to the driver. So that arm goes out, the cross arm, it's sort of directing you to, if you're walking in front of the bus, which you probably shouldn't be doing, but if you need to walk in front of the bus, it's going to direct you far enough from the bus so that the driver is going to be able to see you. When waiting for the bus, get there earlier, okay? And when you're waiting for that bus, don't be running around in the street, don't be a nuisance, that type of thing. Wait for the bus, be there when it comes, so that you can get on the bus right away and get to school. You don't want to miss the bus because then somebody's going to have to drive you to school. So just get there, wait patiently. I know that the buses are on a route and they pretty much stick to those routes pretty, I guess, by the minute or up to the minute. So be there when you need to be there and there won't be any trouble. Now, for those of you who actually get a ride to school from a parent or a guardian or somebody who is an adult, there's some things for you to consider with that too. If you're going to be exiting the vehicle, the car, the truck, whatever you want to call it, do it from the curbside, okay? Parents, don't let the children exit on the street side because cars that are going by, we talked about this earlier in the segment, they may or may not be paying attention what with all the distraction that there are available to drivers nowadays. So exit at the curb. Every school in Elk Grove and the district probably has a protocol, a certain drop-off procedure. I know here at Grove Junior High, they have a drop-off area that is set up just for vehicles to pull in and exit so that it doesn't have to be on any major street. Make sure you follow those guidelines, okay? When you're dropping off your children maybe on the street around a school, be aware of the people who are walking, be aware of the crossing guards. Don't be the driver that I've seen it happen before when I've been out driving in a squad. Don't be the driver that stops right in the center of the crosswalk so that your boy or your girl, your son or daughter can get out and walk into the school. Be aware and be courteous to the other people who are in the area, and that will go a long way towards safety near the schools. Another thing also is I know that many of the schools where it's allowed to, I guess, drop off and pick up your children, there are signs that say no parking and that type of thing. I'm not going to say it's an overlooked thing, but it's sort of a, I guess, a quasi-agreement that if people stop at the curb real quick to drop off their child, or if they stop at the curb real quick to pick up their child, it's not a real issue, a safety issue in our eyes or the school's eyes. But if you, again, are stopped at that curb and you're there for 10 or 15 minutes before or after school is supposed to start or end, if you're blocking those crosswalks, if you're not being considerate of the other 100 people who are being dropped off and picked up while you're there, that's when it starts to be an issue where the police might have to be involved, or a principal or an administrator may have to tighten up on those sort of rules that are sort of, I guess, laxly enforced. So be courteous and get in and get out quick, and we can all, have a safe time around the school and the street. Okay, let's talk a little bit now about what your children should do when they're home from school. We know that as boys and girls get older, they're going to find themselves at home by themselves. I mean, the economy, sometimes both parents need to work. I know my work schedule has it so that my boys are home alone from time to time because my wife works, I work, and heck, they're 8th grade and freshmen in school, and I still get a little concerned about them being home alone. So just some simple things that you want to consider is, again, we mentioned earlier in the segment, at another point in the segment, walk to and from the school directly to the house. If as you're getting closer to the house, you see somebody in the area that you don't really recognize, you as a child, you as a boy or girl, do not want to be walking up to the house, fiddling with keys, putting down book bags, so that they're able to visualize the fact that you're walking into a home on your own. If you're to see somebody that's sort of around the house that doesn't really belong or you're worried about, I would probably suggest, well, what could you do? Just walk to neighbor's house, okay? And then your neighbor's there, your children, they trust the neighbor, and they say, hey, you know what, do you mind if I just come in here for a minute? I'm worried about that person in the car over there. 99 times out of 100 times, that person who's in the car is going to not really be anything to worry about, or not going to be a person, stranger danger that you think of who's going to steal a child away. But isn't it better to default to that one time out of 100 that it could be trouble, okay? When your children are home, I would suggest that they're not answering the phone, okay? First thing they should do when they get home is call you as a parent and let them know that they're in the house, right? That's the rule I have with my boys and girls, or my boys at home. But don't answer the phone if it's a stranger. We could use a phone answer machine to sort of screen calls, or if you have a caller ID, have a list of phone numbers for your children that show who it's for, okay? If grandma's got a number, have that written down. If your work number, desk number is different than your cell number, have those numbers down. So that the phone rings, your children can see, oh yeah, that's mom at work, she's calling up, they know to answer it. If you were to answer the phone by mistake and it turns out to be a stranger, a telemarketer, or anything like that, and ask, is your mom or dad home? We don't want to tell them that they're not home. Say, yep, my dad's home right now, but he's working in the garage. Can I take a number for them to call back? My mom's home, but right now she's in the basement. We have an extension there. She's pretty busy. Can I have a number to call you back? You don't want to let strangers know that you are home alone. Regarding phone numbers for contact and stuff, if you wanted to contact me at the police department, email me, all one word, lowercase ethomas@elkgrove.org, or you can call me in and out of the building, 847-357-4151. What I have is a guide that I can provide you with. I could either mail it to you or leave it at our desk. It's basically a babysitter helper guide, but it doesn't have to be sort of pigeonholed into that. You can write your numbers on here. It's an erasable pen. You could write notes on here to your kids, like maybe if you ran out of the house to pick something up at the store and they come home by themselves, you have this in an area where they know to check. It's magnetic, it goes right on the refrigerator. They'll know, oh yeah, mom's not here, dad's not here, where do they go? You could write right on here where you're at. But another good thing for this is we have emergency numbers for contact. We have numbers for the police department you could write on here. You could write down things on here about medication, anything that you would find important for your children, or us at the police, if we were to come to your house, we'd have all that information also. So like I said, make arrangements with me. I've got a number of these at the police department. I'll be happy to get it to your address. I could even come out and drop it off in your door. So feel free to call me for that. When your children get home, another rule that I have for my kids is try to get that homework done right away before you start doing the video games, or you're home for an hour, then you have to go back for sports. Get the homework out of the way. Have a snack when you get home. Depending on your child's age, you may want to consider having a no stove type of rule, okay? No microwave. But anybody can pick up an apple or a banana or some crackers, whatever you would agree to have them eat when they come home, so they can get something into their bodies to start getting, I guess, back revitalized from that long day at school. have also set up with your boys and girls, your children, who they can have as visitors. My kids, and I hate to keep on referring back to them, but you know I'm in the same boat you are. My kids, if they're going to be having a visitor come over, walk home from school, they call me up to make sure it's okay. So maybe you would want to do that too, so they're not going to be 5 or 6 or 8 kids hanging around your house. Just have your children say, hey, you know, call up if you're going to have somebody over. It's fine. I just want to know about it.
Elk Grove Television Action Team, winners of the Hometown Video Award for overall excellence in government access, bringing high-quality broadcasting to Elk Grove Village since 1985. EGTV, the exceptional channel for the exceptional community.
Reported that a person on the boat may have been involved in an altercation and was assaulted. Reports have been made either a person fell overboard or was pushed in the water. Another witness reported seeing somebody throw an object from a pier shortly after the incident took place. Chemical barrels have been located on shore and in the water. And the water has an obvious surface chemical sheen. There is, on the other side of one of these trees over here, there is a blue barrel sitting on the shore, so we're not going to go anywhere near that. We probably shouldn't be here because I believe the wind is kind of blowing out of the south-southwest. And now we're just going to wait for a hazmat to clear the water. Wayne is going to be a shore master. In the 2 teams, we're going to need somebody in charge. Make sure that you do your safety checks as well as rapid field neuros on each other. That's about it.
So do we have 2 dive sites or 1?
Right now we have 1.
Roger.
That's a body recovery.
Yes, sir. How many divers you got right
There's 10 available guys. I'm sorry, 9 available guys.
Todd Rich is leading on the pier. And I would say, we're going to go interview.
Your township?
Right.
Yeah. Don't move your truck. That's being used as a reference.
Away from the script.
Got it.
I think he was our witness over here as
was
well.
he? Okay.
And I don't know if he's looking for a hazmat guy to come interview him.
Not sure.
You know what? I'm going to go see if there's another witness on the pier. Mike is inside there. These are prospects. Oh, that's ours. We're just using it as our pier checking.
Bye.